to Coffee and Conversation, the podcast where
nothing is off table.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sika.
And today we have a really special podcast, kind of to elaborate a little bit more on last week's podcast. We have guests, which are husbands.
Husbands.
On my side, I have...
Pat. Hey, I'm Alex.
The Akko Tacos.
The Akko Tacos.
And the Akko Tacos. You guys are awkward tacos.
Oh, yes. We're just less used to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you have seen us on camera, on different social media platforms, but they are in the background, supporting us. Yeah.
Good hubbies and being supportive.
They're cheerleaders, basically. So we still have some beef. Of course, as any Alex is agreeing.
Boy.
That's news to me.
What?
You two always have beef, so I'm very curious.
We're gonna talk about this when we get home.
Oh no! Oh no! What did we get ourselves into?
The usual.
Oh yeah, the usual. Oh, by the way, today's coffees. Sika brought us some Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Again.
But she forgot to bring me one.
That is not true. I texted you. You're a f***ing liar. Liar.
It's true. She did text him, but he loves to take every occasion.
I will take a screenshot and you can post it. And be like, I want coffee. And then I get here and you're like, I want coffee.
He does. He takes every occasion to complain. I think that's his French side.
Is it, you think?
I think it's your French side.
Most likely. Comes with the education.
It does. Oh no, it's not good enough. And okay, so today's coffee. It's going to get a little bit off topic here and there. Not sponsored by Starbucks, but hey, Starbucks.
If you want,
we're available.
Totally down.
Yeah, we're down. I have a cotton candy latte, iced latte. Frappuccino. I don't know the difference. It just tastes good. Sika...
Frappuccino's frozen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A latte is not, right? A latte is just like milky.
Milky coffee?
Yeah.
Could be a frozen latte.
You didn't say frozen.
I didn't say frozen. No, I didn't.
I have a strawberry coconut refresher.
And it is very refreshing.
It's so good.
I have coffee.
I have coffee.
Just black, straight up?
With a bit of milk.
Okay, with a bit of milk.
And I have a homemade black coffee for obvious reasons.
Man.
He's being difficult, so.
He's going to be definitely very difficult.
See how it is now.
Well, I see a pattern, you two have sugary stuff and we have coffee.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we
and
need a
she's the one
pick-me-up.
that doesn't like sugary stuff usually.
Yeah, usually I'm not a huge
Yeah,
sugar
me
person.
neither.
We're more savory.
Yeah, I will genuinely get angry if my breakfast has anything sweet in it. Like continental breakfasts where there's croissants and chocolatines and like just sweet things.
I'm gonna have to call bullshit on it because I do remember a trip to Tokyo where your breakfast were a lot of French toast.
No, that was me.
Yep.
No?
Wrong sister.
Yeah.
Not me.
Wrong.
Never.
No.
No, she actually never takes that.
Never.
Always salty.
No.
Always.
The time she had the French toast, she had eggs first.
Eggs first,
yes.
but I didn't even take the French toast. I took
Pieces.
a piece from yours.
True.
Yeah, just to
The
taste
first
it
one we
because
shared, it's true.
yeah, I never get a sweet breakfast. I can't do it.
She gets angry, literally.
Yeah, like
She gets
there are
physically
times
angry.
I physically get angry. There were times where we were invited.
Yeah, no, she does. Because at my brother's place, he likes sweet breakfasts. And the first few times, she barely touched anything. She was
She's like, I don't want to eat this.
Yeah.
It's salty.
She was more insulted and in a bad mood for half of the day afterwards.
I'm like, who eats like sweets for breakfast? Like that is bad for your blood sugar level.
Like most people across the planet do? I mean, I don't know.
I don't
I
think
think-
so.
French
Is it
toast
also Western
and
thing?
pancake?
It's a Western thing
Wow,
because
okay.
yeah, it's a Western thing mainly. I think in a lot of the places they don't even have a special breakfast food kind of thing. Like even
True.
in Asia and everything, they have just normal meal. It's
Yeah,
just
because in Japan, it's like,
it's a meal.
it's eggs on your
Or fish.
Yeah,
Fish.
exactly.
Fish, rice.
Miso soup.
We only had sweets because we went to like an Americanized
It's true.
breakfast
Yeah.
place
Yeah.
in Japan.
I mean, let's
so.
not even go very far. In Egypt, we have beans.
Well, not go
As
very
our
far, just
base-
another
That's true.
continent.
I was like beans. I was like, oh yeah, food.
Beans, yeah, fool as our beans,
Yeah.
like beans, and then we have falafel, which is basically
Greens.
chickpeas and beans.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a Western thing.
Yeah, I think what's it called? In North America, there's quite a bit of that too, and in Europe too, in France and all that, they love they love a lot of the viennoiserie and things like that.
Yeah, and you grew up in a very European type environment.
Yeah, but even in Poland, it's not very sweet. In Poland, we're also big on eggs, sausages. It's very much.
So your brother's just random.
Yeah.
I think it's because of our education also.
Yeah.
It's like we went and we lived in France for a bit of time, so I think they picked up a bit of the habits of, that we have in France over there. And like some of it was, the
I'll have
croissants.
I was so angry.
I'll have cake for breakfast.
You
Oh,
would?
fair, yeah.
Just sweet, straight up. I can't.
The amount of times I've woken up and just had a piece of cake. If we have some in the fridge, I'll have cake for breakfast.
Moo moo cake.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so now that we got breakfast out of the way, we're going to talk about different topics about our couple life, like how we met and all these things. And I did post on Instagram if any of you had questions for us, and there are quite a few. So at the end, we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A if we didn't touch on any of the topics that we're basically going to discuss. So we figured we'd start from the beginning because that was already one of the questions asked a lot on Instagram is where did you meet? What was the circumstance?
That's a weird story.
So do you guys want to start with that one?
Sure.
So let's start with first where, just very brief where.
We met online.
A dating app.
Yeah.
Okay, and for me and Pat, we met at our karate school.
Yeah.
That was our
She
first.
was my teacher.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but just to put it out there, we're the same age. I didn't cradle.
You have a type.
I have a type.
Needed an
Older.
adult there.
We're the same age. I just had more karate
you're-
experience.
You're older than me.
No.
Well, technically, I'm also older than her, just 12 days, but I'm still older, so.
That's true. It was recently your birthday too.
Yesterday.
Happy,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yesterday.
happy
Happy
birthday
belated
again.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the circumstance? Give us a little bit more information.
It was so freaking cheesy. On her bio, it said that
I don't remember. Oh
all
my
she
God.
wanted was to be able to cuddle with her cats watching Netflix, and that's basically what I went for. So I texted her, wrote to her, sent her a message about if she would like to do exactly that on the the coming Friday. And she accepted, and we started talking from there. And
I didn't accept that easily.
well, not exactly like let's go for it, but we.
I was like, I have to
talked
see if
and-
I like you first.
Well,
The
I
sass
mean-
started already.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you want to hang out with your cats on your couch and watch Netflix? I'm like, I don't know. It depends if we click. Just being a bitch from the start. I was like,
okay.
Well, you
To
set
her
the boundaries.
defense-
Yeah.
To her defense, it's not easy when you're on a dating app as a woman. Usually you get spammed a lot, so I can get why she was on the defensive at first. So I didn't take it personal, and we just kept talking on there, and eventually she accepted. So Friday came, and she got into the hospital.
yeah, I was in the ER with you. I remember because I was sick.
Yeah.
So I was like, sorry, I have to cancel our
So
date.
yeah, first time ever, we wanted to go on a date, and she had to cancel. So I was like, oh, okay, we'll see how it goes, and if you're available next Friday, we can do a date or something. And then next Friday came, and she was still at the hospital. So,
I actually thought the first time I said to him that I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the hospital. I was like, okay, that's it. He's gonna let go. He's
Yeah.
not gonna want to talk to me anymore. I'm like, he's gonna know I'm actually sick, and he's like, most people don't want to deal with that, right? So I was like, he's gonna stop talking to me, and that's it. I'm never gonna hear from him again. But he continued to text me.
to most people, it could have been taken as an excuse to just drop it. So for a lot of people, it could have been like either she A, is not interested, or B, I don't want to deal with the sickness.
And the
everything
thing
that
is,
goes
I
with it.
remember when she
Yeah.
told me that you were going to, someone she met online was going to come and visit her. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I remember you were like, no, don't do
No.
that. You can't trust him.
Yeah, you don't know who
him.
he is.
I was like, it's fine, Jackie. We've been talking at that point. We were talking for a couple of
weeks,
weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking like 24/7. You're like, that's a bad idea. You're gonna be alone in your room. I was like, okay, it's daytime. There's nurses around. If I need something, I have a call bell. It's fine.
But I think you also even told me what day and time he would come, and I came right before.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't
came.
know about that because
I don't
when came
remember.
over,
Yeah,
we were
because you
opposite.
came later, I think.
Yeah, in
you
the
were.
afternoon, I think.
Yeah, you came
Mid-afternoon.
later. I don't know if you told him.
I don't think
No.
so.
So I just
remember
showed up.
I never knew, so apparently she didn't.
Okay, I'm so protective. Like, I was like, no, I want to be there. I don't know who this guy is. So I showed up to the hospital the same day you were supposed to show up. You didn't at
It
the
was-
time, and
no.
you showed up later.
Yeah, I think it was Was it a Sunday?
It was a Sunday or a Monday? I can't
Possibly. I don't
I think
remember.
it was a Sunday because I had to go to work later on that day. So I think I got there like early afternoon, and then later afternoon I had to leave for work.
Okay.
But
Yeah, and I remember asking you also how it went.
Yeah.
I was worried.
But for weeks we just kept on texting. Eventually we dropped from the app. We just got straight for texting using the cell phone instead of the dating app.
And that's pretty much how we met.
Yeah, that's pretty much how we met.
It's honestly amazing because so many people would have seen someone who's not doing well.
Yeah, and
They
then
would
just
have
dropped
stopped.
it. Or we'd be like, oh, that sucks. And then that's the last message you get is that sucks.
Yeah.
And then they try to text you 4 months later, like, hey. I'm like,
Hey,
"Ew,
yeah.
get out of my
Are you
messages.
feeling better now?
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of that saying, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Exactly.
And I think that goes true for many situations. Not necessarily every situation because some of them can be toxic.
Yeah.
But it's in situations that you can't control. In that case, I think, for us.
It got pretty interesting because technically, since she had a Crohn flare, it could be considered as contagious when you're in a hospital. So when I got there, I had to put on a gown
It's
and
not
I had
the-
to put on the
Oh, no,
gloves
it's not
and-
the Crohn
That's
part.
not Crohn's, baby.
No?
No.
Well, all I know is that I had to put them on.
Yeah, you had to wear a gown and
So
stuff.
first
yeah.
visit
To protect
ever,
you,
first
I
time we
think.
ever had to meet, I had to put on this yellow gown and my gloves
Gloves
and everything. I was
and a
like,
mask,
okay, that's the first meeting. For me.
Yeah, because at that point, her immune system is
Immune
also
system,
pretty
yes.
low.
Yeah.
So it's to protect her more than anything.
Yeah.
And so from our perspective, me and Pat, go ahead, because your story starts before meeting me at the karate school, and mine basically starts at the karate school.
Yeah, so basically, I was at that time I was especially starting to be pretty in bad shape after university because a lot of eating out, and yeah, and slowly I had a reality check when I went to play soccer where I couldn't barely move. I was so slow at running over there, so I decided, you know what, maybe it's time to start something different, like a different type of event, a different type of sport. So I wanted to register to karate, which was right next to right next to my house at that time.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I
Yeah.
remember now.
Yeah, so that's
It's true. It was in the same district where he lived, the karate school. Well, same place where I lived too. It was not too far. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So that's why, and I've seen this school for years and years. I passed and saw the banner, but never really got the courage to go, I guess. Until at that time, I just figured, you know what, it's time. I think it's time I try something new, and I went to just register. Well, the first time I showed up, was a bit awkward also because what's it called? It's like you show up to karate school. It's already a bit like intimidating in the first place when you appear. Then I just enter. There's a class going on. I just sit down. And it's like nobody talks to me. There's just like a lot of like protocol going on and everything. I'm just like sitting for like 4 minutes.
It was Alan teaching,
Yeah,
right?
it was Alan
Yeah,
teaching.
and Alan was our instructor. You remember Alan,
Yeah,
right?
I completely forgot
Very
until you just
stiff.
said him.
He is one of the best technicians at our karate school. Like, he will make sure if your fist is 3 millimeters away from where it should be, he's going to move it ever so slightly to make sure the technique is
Flawless.
spot on. So, of course, it would be intimidating you coming into,
That teacher.
that teacher's
Not
class.
just that, but it's like it's like he just turned his head when I entered, and no,
No acknowledgement.
He didn't
nothing.
acknowledge you.
Barely
it's
any
just kind of
acknowledgement.
like, okay, so
You're
like,
there.
okay, so I just went to sit down. So, I watched the class for a bit of time, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm in the wrong place.
Oh, no.
I'm like, this is weird. This is just, I'm starting to be uncomfortable. I was thinking of leaving, and then one of the guys showed up, just from the class, and he just started to talk to me. So I was like, oh, okay. So at that time, and he was super friendly at that time too. So he kind of gave me a lot of the information. Then the class stopped a bit. The teacher gave me a bit more information. So I decided, you know what, I can register. He told me pretty much to come in for a tryout class the following day. I'm like, okay, perfect. So that's how I kind of started with the karate school. And the following day, I think it was when she was teaching at that time.
Yeah, so, okay, so technically, if it weren't for that other student coming to talk to you, you wouldn't have come back.
No, because what's it called? It was just super awkward the last few minutes. I was just sitting on a bench in a karate school with a bunch of people there. It was just, intimidating for
what luck. Like, what luck that one student
Made a whole difference.
made a whole difference. And that student, we know, he was actually at our wedding too.
Yeah, he became one of our friends too.
Yeah, really close friend at the time as well. So the next day, so I was basically teaching at that karate school about between 6 to 8 classes a week.
You were a karate junkie.
I was a karate junkie.
Yeah,
like
you were there all the
I was
time.
there all the time. But it just so happened that one day, it was Alan's class. And okay, so then you came the next day.
Yeah, so I came the next day. I think I did the follow the class. I think that was fine, and then I decided to register at least I think for a month or 2 months, something just to get a tryout. And that's when we got to talk a bit. I'm like,
Yeah, because we didn't talk during the class. I'm not going to talk about first impressions yet, but we're going to get to first impressions. But you did come and sign up, and I remember when I asked you for your information, your name was so weird to me.
The last name, yeah.
Yeah, the last name was just so weird. And I was like, okay, I'm never going to remember that. But I actually did. And
Yeah, and
now
look at that.
I know
You
now
know
I'm
it
married
pretty
to it. I know it really well. So that's how we met. Now, first impressions.
This is also a weird one, especially
Yeah.
for her.
Well, but both of you, because first impressions, you have 2 first impressions. You have the online one, and then you have the physical one.
Yeah.
So I want to hear each of you's first impressions separately, and then we're going to come back to our first impressions.
The online one, I think I was like, because as soon as he asked me, like, oh, we can hang out with your cats and, cuddle on Netflix and chill or some shit like that.
No, not Netflix and chill. It has a different meaning online. You're not saying this
It's
here.
not the same thing.
Not the same.
That's what I thought you were getting to. Anyways,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm coming to your house to hang out with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So,
your cats.
and your cat.
You know the cat
And your-
between your leg?
and your cats. And I was like,
Not what I meant, again.
and when he sent that, my first impression was, is he really pushing himself on me that fast? Like Netflix with my cats and cuddling? I was like, someone's cocky. I was like, oh, okay, let's put him in his place. I'm like, well, I'll have to see if I get, if I actually like you kind of thing. And then after that, it went downwards. It wasn't, not downwards, but it went like, it went
All
bad.
downhill
thanks.
from
No,
here.
but it got better in a sense, like he didn't sound as cocky anymore after that first message, right? So the first message, I was like, oh, okay, like he's really cocky.
Well, it's kind of the point of a first message. If you don't make enough an impression,
You'd
won't.
be surprised how many unsolicited schlong
no,
pictures.
not that kind of impression. There's a limit. But yeah, no, if your first message, we see it a lot online. There's whole Reddit groups on them. Like if you just go with hey, the chances are of a good answer are pretty low. So you need to interact with the person. You need to attract the interest or something. So maybe she got weird or bad first impression, but at least she got enough of one to answer and
She got
to start
an
the
impression.
I got an impression, that's for sure.
least
She
you
got an
replied.
impression, and at least something started out of it. So a conversation was started, and well, we clicked.
So what's your first impression of her?
Online.
Yeah.
I was, from what I could see from the dating app, she was interesting. The first conversation, well, as she said, she was a bit defensive there, but it was at first curiosity, wondering how well it could go, how we could click, if things could go on, and it was pretty good. I was from the beginning, from how the conversation went, from the flow of the conversation, it went well.
Okay, so for you, first impression is I like her kind of thing.
Yeah.
We were literally talking 24/7.
Yes.
24/7
I-
for weeks.
I wasn't supposed to, so if people from my work actually recognize me and see this, I used to actually take out my phone during work in my warehouse and look at the text she would send me. And since it was on the dating app at first, my where I work, it's a warehouse. We have internet connection inside the warehouse, but the phone reception is really bad.
Oh.
So when she was texting me with the app at first, I was able to receive the notification that I had a message, so I was able to answer. So I wasn't supposed to, but
You got the job done.
well, apparently yes.
Yeah, you got. Well, no, not her.
Well, no, I didn't get the job
mean,
done. I was
wow,
having issues with work at that point.
He's outing himself.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to cover you here.
Well, I mean, even at work, they knew that something was up at some point because my statistics were going down a bit. So, but I was learning a new position, which is the position I'm doing right now. But Yeah, no, it was a good first impression.
And how about you, Pat?
Me, it was fairly good. I mean, when I started, no, because it's true. When I started afterwards to talk to you, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, I like her. She's sporty. She
Yeah.
seems interesting. She seems down to earth too.
She can kick your ass. I mean,
Yeah, at that time she could kick my ass too. That's for sure.
Was my sister defensive?
No.
No? Okay.
Because what's it called? It's really a teacher-student relationship at
Yeah.
that time.
Yep.
but
That's
she
what I liked, you know. So
didn't
that's,
That
have
was very formal. Oh wow, you someone has a teacher fetish.
No, but you didn't have to be on the defensive. You were on your comfort zone. You were at your own work. You knew how to proceed with things. You
Well,
yeah,
here's-
you
were in a
element
good
there.
Yeah.
spot for your side.
But here's the
So,
difference between Pat and I versus you.
Yeah.
You two met under the knowledge that you want to date.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pat
sure.
and I met under the knowledge of this
I
is a
needed to-
formal relationship.
Yeah, I need to lose weight. It's true. That was my goal. It was not to get married by showing up
No.
over there. You know?
That's true. Yeah, we were just basically student teacher at that point. For me, it was a formal relationship like any other student that I signed up. So it was someone that I signed up, and I was like, the first impression for me was just basically, what a really blonde guy, and like his hair in the summer gets really golden. So I was like, he's so blonde. And then I remember the last name, like, that's a weird last name. And that's basically where the first impression ended. But I clearly remember it, though.
Yeah, that's normal.
I've
I made an
signed up
impression.
hundreds of students, though. You made an impression. You got the job done.
I got the job done.
You got the job done.
But can you imagine going back like 10 years and talking to your past self right before you register for class and saying, if you go and register to that class, you'll get married eventually?
It's crazy.
No one thinks about that. Especially like that one class where he
Yeah.
would have left and never showed up again.
Yeah.
So but also the interesting is I had just come out of a really bad relationship.
Yeah.
And he
I was ending a relationship at that time too. That's why it was like
Yeah.
was a kind of like my new life I was restarting. Like
Yeah.
I was ending my relationship now. I was starting like new activities. I was going out of my comfort zone kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was the impressions for all of us. So now the next question that I have is friends and or family first impressions. And while you compose yourselves, because I know part of the story for Sika's, but I'm also Sika's family, and I did have first impression on you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which wasn't very positive at first. But we'll get to
Well,
that.
obviously not. I went to meet her at the hospital and you wanted to be there.
But
So
but that's also because I saw your. Okay, you know what? We're gonna start with Alex's
Sure.
first impression.
roast me.
So I know that when you were talking, one of the profile pictures that Sika showed me, you were holding a gun.
Airsoft, yes.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. Is I didn't know
Yeah.
what
Yeah, she was
airsoft.
losing her mind over that.
I was like, why
Which
is he
year
holding a
was I
gun? Like,
using?
what
Was
is he
that-
trying to show off? Like,
Okay, I think it was my old AR-15. So yeah, it would have been a bad impression.
yeah. So that was the first impression I had. I was like, why is he holding that? Like, we're Canadian. What is he trying to prove? Like, is he like?
This was my airsoft gun.
But you see, all these things came to my head. So my first impression of you was, what's he trying to prove? Kind of
Compensating,
thing.
obviously, because it was a long barrel gun.
Okay. But Sika, you're also family. What was your first impression of Pat?
I was pretty young. I just liked him. I was like, oh, he's fun. That's about it. Because I remember the first time I actually got to hang out with him fully was at camp. When he came to see you at camp.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Yeah, we
I was
went.
like, oh, he's cool.
Yeah, and you hung out there, and you,
Yeah.
yeah,
We
you
have
would,
pictures of us on the hill
Yeah, we played some
where he's
Scrabble.
like laying down.
and-
And I think I was like this.
Yeah.
On the hill. And I remember that's the first time I actually got to hang out with him.
yeah.
I was like, oh, he's fun.
He would
That's
show up
it.
after work, like you would show up after work, and then leave the campsite around like 1 or 2 in the morning to get back to work at 7 in the morning.
And
Yeah, I
it was
think
like a 2-hour
the
drive
worst-
almost, right?
Yeah, one of the times it was the worst ones. Is because you wanted some. It was a few days you were at camp,
Yeah.
and you were craving food, falafels actually.
Yeah, because everything was so like bland.
Was always the same thing. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll come and. I was thinking I'll go get some falafels and drop them off over there.
I'm so Arab. Like, I want falafels.
And what's it called? But I had to finish some work on the car too, and it's like it took super long time to finish and everything. By the time I left Montreal, well, where we lived, it was probably something like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Something like 8 p.m. from over here, and it was like an hour and a half, a good hour and a half drive,
Yeah.
I would say. So it's like, I think I showed up by the time I stopped to buy some food and everything. So I think I showed up at like 10:30, 10:45. I texted you.
Yeah, you're
that I'm
like,
here.
look
I'm in the
outside the
parking
window
slot.
or
Yeah, I'm in
something
the
like
parking
that.
lot.
Oh, not creepy at all.
By
Look outside the
then,
window, I got falafels.
I was directly staring at the window.
like, big eyes shining, the reflection of the light through his glasses glaring.
Yeah. And what's it called? So at that time, you were surprised. I think we stayed, so we ended up staying until I think almost 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Until 3 a.m. So just like we chit-chatted until 3 a.m. We started, and I'm like, man, I have to get to work tomorrow morning.
You
At that
didn't tell
time,
me.
were you guys dating, or were you guys like actually together at that time?
We were dating at
We
that
were
time.
Okay,
dating,
so you
yeah.
weren't together yet.
We
Yeah,
had
we-
similar experiences, but she was still at the hospital at that moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there for like 20-something days.
You were there for quite a while
Yeah.
back then, too. Yeah.
But no, so the following day at work was intense because by the time like I left was
Exhaustion.
3. By the time I got back home and went to bed it was 5. And I had to wake up at 7. And I had a hard time falling asleep since I knew I had to wake up soon. So in the end, I slept like an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. I spent my day in front of the coffee machine at work.
But you showed up again the next day, didn't you?
No.
Or was it the day after?
I think it was the day after.
Yeah.
It's like literally the only thing I was trying to do is survive my day at work.
Survive.
It was literally that. Like I had my coffee mug was just passing in front every 15 minutes, just filling it up, passing. I'm like, you know what? It's a long day. I don't remember anything from that day.
Oh,
afterwards.
no.
At some point, you start peeing brown, you know? It's
Oh, no.
coffee goes straight through.
So much coffee.
And especially the worst part is I was working in trading and I was just so worried to make any type of mistakes
no.
because
Yeah, 'cause they're costly.
mistakes as crazy. So it's like, okay, you guys want to buy something. I'm like, it's buy. I'm like, quickly check on my keyboard not to make sure, double check every orders. So yeah, it was an interesting day.
And I guess while you're still here, what about the first impression with your parents and friends?
My dad I think is more neutral on a lot of those things. And my dad is very,
That's a
he's
bad
just,
thing, I think.
yeah, he's just, yeah, like a
Especially
dad thing.
for a guy, I think it's a dad
Yeah,
thing.
for a guy.
Yeah.
They're neutral.
He's
For a
more
girl,
neutral.
it's different. But for a guy, it's
Yeah,
dad.
women have more opinions.
Yeah, I think so too. Because for my dad, it's like, oh, she's nice. So it's real. Yeah, she seems super nice, and that's it. My mom was more surprised, I guess. It's not in a bad way. Not that she was not happy with.
She was just shocked.
not shocked. A bit.
I think shocked is the right word.
I think shocked is the right word, just because you have to give context on the difference,
Yeah.
though.
It's because my previous girlfriend was very much, very 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 girly, high heels.
Yeah,
always
like
dressed.
super princess type.
So very much
Brand
dressed
names.
like that and everything. So my mom got used to me, and we were together for 3.5 years. So my mom got really used to her too, to have that type of very girly girl. And then when Jackie showed up, I mean, Jackie is more of a tomboy, to be honest. So it's kind of so she was a bit kind of surprised afterwards. She's like,
And
You
the worst
sure?
thing is, I tried. Like, I had one skirt. And I was
the
like,
yellow one?
it was like the multicolored one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna try and wear a skirt.
you
the
looked
first
good in it.
time.
You looked really
I
good
thought
in
I thought I looked good.
Me too. I thought you pulled it off.
But I
you
wore
got the job done.
I wore a sweater with it, right? Like a hoodie?
I think that like a not a poncho, but like a half sleeve.
cardigan?
Yeah,
Cardigan. Okay, yeah. So I tried to be as like
Girly as you
Girly.
can get.
girly as possible, but that was like the one only skirt that I got, and I think I got it on discount for like $5 somewhere. And then so I couldn't even fool his mom.
Yeah, she saw right through you that
Yeah.
it was an act.
It was an act. I was a
mean-
pretender.
If the girlier you could get was wanting to put a sweater with a skirt, I'm guessing that, yeah, you didn't fool her.
No, because nothing was brand name either.
It's not a question of brand name, but it didn't. I guess probably didn't feel natural to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as
Did you get to her table and just sit with your legs out like
Oh no.
Oh,
Hey,
she's not girly. She can't sit right.
I manspread in front of his mom.
Manspreading.
No, her mannerism was decent.
Okay, decent.
Yeah, I can be presentable at times, not all the time.
No, it was fine, but it was just very different, very very different. So that's why for my mom it was a bit more like wow.
It was a shock.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you do realize it's not the same as your previous one, right?
Yeah, it's from one side to another. It's complete
Yeah.
opposites.
So that's why she was like, but she didn't have anything bad to say. It was just like you do realize they're very different, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fully aware of that. That's the goal, also, to be honest.
I mean, if the previous relationship didn't work, you go
Yeah.
the opposite way.
Yeah.
Some people
Technically.
get stuck in their own
Loop.
loop.
Yeah. But I mean, from again, I read a lot of books, and they say that we will repeat the same mistakes over and over until we learn the lesson that is there for us.
Yeah.
So if we're in the same relationships over and over, we're in the same situations, why does this always happen to me?
You haven't learned enough from
Exactly.
that last one
There
to
was
make
that
a change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that one lesson in there that you haven't picked up and applied.
There's something I hear. I don't remember where I learned that from. It's the balance of change. The only reason why a human in general will change is if they suffer enough to validate the need for change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do not want to change, it's because you haven't suffered enough from your own circumstances to want to pull out of that.
Yeah, which is hard to say because a lot of people suffer and still suffer and still haven't changed. And it's not that they haven't suffered enough.
No, I think you're drawn to what you're comfortable with,
That's true.
and that's
Well,
why.
change is hard. So
It is
Yeah.
it's
hard.
not comfortable, so no one wants to
Yeah.
really do
That's
it.
what I'm thinking is also is that what's it called? You're used to it, so that's what you always do. Since it's always what you do, it's easier for you to continue doing it this
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
versus actually stopping for a moment and asking yourself, is like,
Am
is
I
it
okay
working
with
for
this?
me with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, that's what it was. It's like at that time, at least with what I saw with my previous relationships, is that I just didn't have fun on a day-to-day basis, and yeah, and ultimately that's why I was like, I don't think I wanna go for that type of girls anymore because it's just not pleasant.
You were
for me.
miserable.
Yeah, I was starting to be really miserable because that's when you realize I was like, I really want to have someone I can really just relax. Just be
Just
normal.
be yourself.
Yeah, be myself, be normal, and not try to, want to have to go somewhere absolutely and
Yeah.
everything.
And he had trauma too from like the past relationship that he had. And he brought that trauma with him and me. So there were times where he technically wasn't allowed to be his own person.
Yes.
He wasn't allowed to go out with his friends. He wasn't allowed to do things he loved to a certain extent.
Not a question of allowed, but it came with a lot of strings. And
Yeah, well, it's manipulation.
yeah, it
Yeah.
came with
Yeah.
a lot of manipulations where at the end you're kind of like, you know what, do I really want to do that? Because I'm going to hear about it for a week. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
get
you
stuck
would
in a
rather,
mold.
hang out with your friends than with me. It's like, dude, we're like together all the time.
yeah.
So then I remember it so clearly when we were dating, he's like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends on Friday. I'm like, okay.
He's like,
It's
that's
like-
it?
Yeah, I was expecting to.
Yeah.
Like there was something.
There's like something attached. I'm like, okay. He goes, are you sure? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
You
Where's the
okay with
bite?
that?
There's something coming. Where's the bite?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I was like, okay.
He just kept saying, are you sure? I'm like, yes.
Should I not be?
And then he just kept
What kind
asking.
of friends do you have?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, should I be concerned?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, no. I'm like, are you guys doing like something weird? No. Okay.
Okay.
Have fun.
Are you selling drugs?
Yeah, like, are you doing any of these things? It's like, no. I'm like, okay, go.
But yeah, it used to be a big issue before, so that's why I was just not used to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say even before we started to date, you gave me a hard time to start dating you too. Took me a
Oh
while.
yeah, absolutely. I did.
She's
We
She's
did.
proud
like
of it. She's
That's
almost
true.
proud of it. Like, I gave him a hard time.
That's true. I gave him.
Didn't you ask her out to like restaurant, and then she's like, yeah, let's invite everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was not my first attempt too.
No.
Because I was waiting a bit afterwards on because what's it called? Since she was the teacher, it was hard. It was hard to get to her because what's it called? No, but it's true.
It's true. I specifically did not want to date him.
Really?
Specifically, did not want to date him. Did not want anything to do with him because I also
Look
thought.
at where we are now.
I know, because I thought legitimately you were dating another person at the karate school
Oh
too.
yes, I remember that.
So I thought he was being a player.
Makes sense.
I mean, he's a good-looking guy, so I would be like, why you asking me out if you're already dating someone else? And then one time you were bringing me back home after karate. It was winter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we need to clear things out because I want to know, are you dating this person? And he says, no. I'm like, okay, because I saw this person hold your hand. He's like, no, but didn't you see me move my hand away?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, because as soon as I saw the hand holding, I looked away. So he had to clarify that he's not dating that person at the karate, the other student at the karate school.
Yeah.
Typical movie scenario here.
I know, right? It was like
No, but it took me 6 months, I would say.
6 months. I refused him for 6 months, pretended.
Not refuse, like, what's it called? It was hard at first. It took me, like, maybe a few months. Because what's it called? Compared to you guys went on a dating app. So you were in that
That was the
context.
intention, was to start dating.
Us, it was not the case. So it's like I had... So even though I was starting to be interested, the problem is, like, she was never alone. No, but it's true. So it's kind of odd. So you can't just show up in front of the class like, hey, do you want to go to the restaurant with me now? It's just not going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, as the senpai of the school, every student comes and chats with you after, talk about different techniques and things like that. And he would stay. Like, I was always the last to leave the karate school, and he would stay until the end. Like, 45 minutes after classes were done, he was still sitting on that bench.
Yeah, but I was chit-chatting with people too to not make it too obvious.
I was doing things too,
No, but it's true. That's what it was. I wasn't just creeping on the bench on the side waiting. But, yeah.
So what you two are basically saying is that you wanted senpai to notice him.
Yeah, yes. It's like senpai noticed me.
Yeah, and senpai eventually noticed me. It's like, what's it called? The noticing was at least that, what's it called? When it was cold, I was driving her back home.
Mm-hmm. So that was a good pretext for him to get to know me at the time.
Yeah.
And then when we did start just dating, because I had trauma from a previous relationship, I gave him a deadline. I'm like, if you know you want us to get married,
I gave him a deadline.
you gave him the same deadline. I said, you have 3 years to propose.
Yeah.
And if you don't propose and we don't get married by 3 years, then you do not know what you want to do. And we're just not going to continue and not waste anyone's time. So he was aware of that deadline.
Yeah.
What was your impression of that, though?
I didn't take it seriously.
Oh, wow.
You
That
didn't
was
know
like-
her well enough back then. She
Yeah.
would have. Yeah, she.
I would have sacked you so fast.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, well, she's telling me that she's just looking for a serious relationship. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm looking for a serious relationship too. But I, like, the 3 years mark and everything didn't really...
Register.
No, I was
No,
just
but
like...
you
just look...
respected it, though.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of the 3 year mark, though. It was really not because of that.
It's because you knew
Yeah.
then.
Well, if you weren't there to be serious, it would have scared you away, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the intent of the deadline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought it was, actually. I thought it was just like a...
Just putting her
A
foot
scare
down.
tactic.
Yeah, a scare tactic, but it wasn't... I didn't think that the timer was on at the second that
Oh,
she
it
said it
was.
was 3 years. But afterwards, I knew the
You
timer
had 10
was
minutes,
on.
boy.
It's
3 years
funny.
later.
Sika called me the week before the deadline was over. And she was panicking for me.
Yes.
And she's like, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to break
I
up with
remember
him?
this.
I remember.
I was so panicked
She
for
was
you.
panicking for me to not break up with him.
Yeah, because I really loved him. I was
Yeah.
like, no, he's a good guy. Don't do it.
I'm like, but if he doesn't know, he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
And then he proposed, I think, that same week, actually.
Yeah,
I
it's
called
a
it's
week,
the
you.
yeah.
same week.
that's
Yeah.
the week.
The same week. But like I said, it was not because of that 3... Like, I was aware that you said 3 years, and I wanted to do it before 3 years to please you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, but it's like, not to please, but what's it called? Just because I knew it was
It's out of
important for
respect,
her.
in a sense, too.
Yeah,
it was
out of
important
It was
for her.
important for her.
Mm-hmm.
But basic men's strategy, you did it at the last minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
11:59.
So did he.
Him too?
Yes.
Oh, no. But that deadline ended up working for you as well.
But what
Yeah.
was the deadline you gave him?
3 years as well.
3 years also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She actually told me how that's the way it
Yeah.
happened for the
For
both
you.
of you, and
Yeah.
that's why she explained that she was.
I think
that
that
makes
was a
sense.
smart thing, and that I don't want to waste my time either. Because
Yeah.
I want kids, and I want someone that.
Yeah.
I mean, we were 23 when we met.
Yes.
So
I had to think about it.
3 years later, 26, it's starting, if you don't have yet a serious relationship and you want kids,
Yeah.
Slowly
if you want to
starts to
start
be.
a new
Yeah.
relationship at 26, you're getting on with the deadline. So that's what I personally think it was a great idea.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially starting a family, obviously, is better sooner if that's like
Yeah.
the forefront
That-
of something that's
that, and you want
important.
to know the person you're with too, because some people start a
Absolutely.
family earlier, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like it
It's
takes
riskier.
a while
Yeah.
to get to know someone. Some people put a front up for so long too, right? You only get to really truly know a person, I think, after 3 years, because they start to not have that front anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've been together a while now. And I think it's at the 3-year mark where we started being more silly and more
Yeah.
us, So before that, it was a little bit
The front
more
drop.
stiff.
Yeah, yeah. Same for us too.
Yep.
There was like this adjustment period, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The comfort zone was slowly but surely installed there, and we just
Yeah.
jumped in.
Yeah.
No, but because you get used to what's it called, living with someone also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because at
what's
first
it
you want to
called?
please them, maybe you'll do more of the dishes, or, maybe you'll clean more, and then eventually that's not really you, so you kind of drop out, and you kind of, balance each other out and actually see the real person, I
Yeah.
find, after 3-ish years or
And you
so.
see like the partnership and
Yeah.
how
Yep.
one person can fill the gap where the other person isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And it
becomes a team.
Yeah, exactly.
If it can't become a team, then it's not going to work out.
Yeah, we're teammates basically for life.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Partners in crime.
Yeah,
Partners
li-
in crime.
Yeah, that's what they say, life partners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life partners. Now for you though, we're going back into first impression and families.
You start.
Your family's weird. That's all I can really say without getting into too much detail, but his mom had a lot of crisis issues, so it was hard to digest.
Yeah.
She's a little bit of a toxic person, to
Oh,
be
yeah.
honest. Yeah. So we don't really have much contact with her. As much as we tried to make contact, she always made it very difficult, very dramatic, very overwhelming, and just exhausting mentally.
Yeah.
So we don't really have contact with her.
So she didn't really give you a chance to give a proper first impression.
No, not
But
really.
in her defense, I think she's the kind of person who don't realize it that as much. There's the kind of people that manipulate, and they know they are manipulating
Yeah.
you. They are doing it on purpose. They are willingly toxic people.
Yeah.
And then there's the other kind of people who just suffered a lot in their life, and they turn towards manipulation in order to get the affection or the attention that they need, but they don't know how to express it any other way. And I think she's that kind of person. She wanted me in her life, but she didn't know how to bring me back because she made me suffer in the past.
Yeah.
So we get to the point where we're in a relationship, and she didn't change that part. So she's still in the toxic part, and that's what Jessica met.
So she's going through all these different emotional things
Yes.
Yeah.
that she hasn't dealt with. So
Exactly.
it's just not healthy being around other people until
Exactly.
she figures herself out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a bit too intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really intense. We're not going to go into detail because it is
Intense.
very, very
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
But for now, there's no contact really for his mom.
And sometimes it's needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in order to correct a course, people need to self-reflect. So
course.
you're not doing anything wrong.
No, it's
It's
for
healthy.
everyone's mental
Yes.
health in a sense.
Exactly. I mean, if we're going to talk about also mental health and first impressions, now I'm putting myself completely out there. I really don't think our dad is going to listen to these podcasts. So Pat and I kept our relationship a secret for all 3 years
Oh, wow.
that we were dating.
Yeah.
From my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sika obviously knew, but my dad had no clue.
We even moved in together.
We even moved in together, bought the house,
Yep.
Oh, wow.
and my dad had no
Idea.
clue. So the only way I was allowed to introduce Pat was this guy I met at karate 3 years ago, but that was about it.
Official story was 3 weeks ago.
Official story, yeah. No, we
No,
met.
3 months ago, 3
3
months.
years. We've known each other at karate, but I told you I wanted to finish my education
School.
first.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And then if you're still
Grade A
interested,
student.
grade A student, that he would propose. So the first time my dad met Pat was with Pat holding the engagement ring and saying, "I'm here to propose to your daughter."
Not
Here-
weird at all.
Not weird at all. How did you feel about that?
Not weird at all. Yeah. It was a bit odd. I'm not gonna lie. Because
Yeah.
what's it called? First off, all of you guys give me so many stories about your dad. That was like, so already there, it was kind of a stressful situation in the
Yeah.
first place. So that's the stressful situation, and then I have to show up with a ring at the same time.
And I had to pretend like I didn't know you walking into my dad's place. I was like,
Yeah.
But your eyes were like shining, and you're
Yeah,
like,
like-
Want to know a weird fact? To this day, I still haven't talked to your father at
that's
all.
true.
I still haven't exchanged
Officially,
any kind of
yeah.
conversation with him
You
at all.
haven't
I saw
officially.
him at the marriage of your brother,
Mm-hmm.
but that's it. That's the only time I ever laid my eyes
Yeah.
on him.
But you know what? I'll tell you what he thinks later. I'll tell you after.
I heard snippets of what he thinks.
No, I don't think you've heard the real
But
snippets.
maybe not the full story, but yeah.
Okay, so yeah, basically, I'm gonna get to you guys in not too long, but yeah, basically we hit our relationship. Pat showed up to propose. That was the first time, and my dad liked him. Like I
Yeah.
thought my dad would hate him because he's not Arabic,
yeah.
and my dad always thought I would marry an Arabic guy because we're Arabic.
I think he got to the point that he was
Desperate.
they was
Yeah.
desperate enough for me to show up.
Well,
Yeah.
for a long time, Dad thought you were gonna transition. He was sure that you were.
Yeah, he
Because
really
you were
was
so tomboy.
Yeah,
that
he was
dad was
convinced. He told me,
convinced.
like, if you want to do a transition surgery, I encourage you to do it, but just get your life together, kind of thing.
Yeah, I never told you about
I'm
that.
serious.
Not a weird topic at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, and my
Yeah.
sister's like, I'm straight.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm straight, and I don't identify really as either, you know what I mean? I've never been, like, super girly in any way since I was a kid. But I was like, no, I don't need to transition. I'm okay in this body.
His body, yeah.
But sometimes I did, tell him, hey, maybe I would entertain him, like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
maybe
right.
kind of thing. But he was at a point where he was like, okay, she's not married yet. I mean, and Egyptian girls, if they're not married by like 18, things are getting bad. Like,
They're old
By,
girls.
yeah. And by 25, they're extremely old, I think.
yeah, they're like bad. Like, what's it called?
Expired.
Expired goods. Expired goods.
Isn't there culture? I think I heard that somewhere. If a girl gets to 25 and not married yet, they're shaming her or something like that. Like,
Well, luckily
knives
that's
on
not
head
the
and
case,
stuff like
though.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some countries, there's stuff like that. I heard. I think.
Yeah,
It was a while
luckily
back.
that's not the case. But for you and Sika, my dad is genuinely happy
Oh yeah.
that you're married.
That's some bullshit.
I'm serious. He's genuinely happy that you're married. He won't say it to you. But he did say it to me that he's
I was like, wait
genuinely
for it.
happy that you're married so that you can, get your family together, do your things. Because for the longest time, he was worried that my dad thinks like the toxic masculinity where all men want is just, to screw around with girls. So he was worried that that would be the case, and why get the cow if the milk's free kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's why he always said to not have sex before marriage.
Yeah. So now that you guys are married, he's never bothered me again about asking what you guys are up to.
That's some bullshit.
I know, but now he's happy, so that's basically
I
how
want to hear it from him.
well, he will never say it though.
Yeah.
Like I
know.
only hear
Like a true dad.
yeah, like I only hear it from my like our older brother when my dad's happy that I did something.
Yeah. He
But
never
I-
says it to us directly.
Yeah.
Whether he's happy or content or anything. So
Yeah, no, he won't say that. He'll tell someone else and
it'd be
you'll
like,
hear it.
Is that good?
Not even like, is it good?
No, it's
Yeah, it's
Like the little head tilt.
I guess.
basically no news is good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
No,
much.
no news is good news. That's as far as it goes with our dad. Now the next question I have is basically challenges. What challenges did you have to overcome getting to know the other person? Oh, Alex has something to say. Go for it.
Well, we're both kind of extra. We both have
Yep.
quirks. I had
I'm gonna throw my coffee at you.
I know Pat, especially coming from Pat. Like he's like, yup.
what? Throw the coffee that you didn't buy for him.
Yep.
Okay.
I have
That would be
ice.
nice. I would get coffee at least.
Okay, my equipment. Let's no. Oh.
I didn't want to hurt the camera.
Oh no.
Challenges at knowing each other. It was learning to communicate while we both have different kind of baggages.
Yes.
The most important one being that she reacts extremely badly towards any kind of manipulation.
Yes.
While in my past, I've used to need someone
Oh,
to control me to be able to remain stable because I was not stable.
interesting.
And I was getting to a point in my life where I started and tried to get stable. So we needed to learn to communicate while coming from two very different kind of mental background.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially us, if anything
Feels like we're being manipulated.
or ultimatums, we
Yeah.
will ultimately choose, even if it's the wrong choice,
yeah.
the opposite ultimatum.
Yeah.
No matter what.
It's a really big
Just out of principle.
you.
Yeah, exactly. We will not do well with manipulation. So that was the biggest hurdle for you too.
That and she had issues when it came to, well, health issues.
Yeah.
Without going into details, she was at a point where she had so many issues with doctors not believing her that she was at a point where she just
I just
gave
took it.
up. She,
Yeah.
she, whatever the doctors were proposing, she just accepted it because she didn't want to have to focus on that kind of issue anymore. And I remember at one point it was where it changed. The doctors were proposing a pill.
It was a medication that was in the same family as a medication I'm severely allergic to.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
And I was
the
just
last-
like, okay.
and she just accepted it, and I just
He got upset, really upset.
just blew up. I just
he
couldn't
even-
take it.
You even went to work late that day because he
Yeah.
was giving me a nice mouthful of it.
Yeah.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
She was so out of it, and she so didn't want to think about it that she was also not considering the people around her and what would happen to them if something happened also to her. So I just couldn't take it, and I just blew up for that specific subject.
Yeah.
And she cried, and we just talked, and eventually we figured it out. And at
cried.
that point, she started changing how she viewed her own health issues and how to act accordingly and
Yeah.
to take control of it.
And honestly, I remember that clearly
I
because
cried because I was so dense. I didn't want.
Yeah.
yeah, but you know what? You ended up changing your life
Yep.
so much.
Yeah.
And you
It's because of this
grew
one.
so much.
It's
yeah.
This one. This one did a lot for me.
Oh.
Oh.
Because I remember you did like a complete 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went from being passive about your health to being very
A little more
proactive.
stubborn. Yeah.
Yeah, you mean you were taking steps
Yeah.
to improve. So
It was hard. It was long, but she was taking them, and I was trying as best as I could to help her with them.
yeah, and that I think
And
that's
that must have been one of the biggest challenges there.
yeah, but
health,
it's
yeah.
one that you both overcame, and it made you
Yeah.
even stronger.
Yeah. It was having trouble with one hospital specifically, and then he made sure I never went back to that hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I basically dragged her to another one.
Yeah, and then they kept trying to transfer me out. He's like, no, she's staying here.
And that's what they need sometimes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Because
because
no
they
matter
don't
how
listen
much
to people.
no matter how much I
Yeah.
said something, they weren't listening to me. So I needed people around me
Yeah.
to also put their foot down too.
But that's a whole other issue with the medical system here, where they more specifically don't
That is
listen
another
to
podcast.
women. They have a hard time
Yeah.
listening to women's voices. It's,
Yeah,
it's a
that's
really
why I
bad
always
system.
have to come to
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
He has to come to my doctor's appointments when I say I'm not feeling well. They're gonna glaze over it, and then when he says she's
like,
not
"She's not
feeling
feeling
well,
well."
then they ask him for details.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens with us too. And even you've come to my appointments too, just two women trying to be like, she's
Yeah.
not feeling. I was like, well, I don't know.
Even
Yeah.
just recently, she was at the hospital, and I left work early to go get her.
Yeah, that's
and
the
she
night I
had
called you.
issues meeting with doctors all day.
Yeah.
I got here 20 minutes later. The doctor walked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes sadly
Yeah.
a male figure,
Yeah.
especially a tall boy. You know,
You're intimidating, baby.
6'2", 240. Apparently, it works.
it works. I need to bring you to my appointments too. Like you and Pat coming into my appointments will get double the results. I'm pretty sure that's.
Partly. Yeah.
But yeah, for me and Pat, I think, at least on my side, the biggest challenge was him accepting that we're two different people and we don't need to do everything together.
Yeah, at
This
first
one
it's
too.
true.
We
It
had that
was
issue too.
really hard. Yeah, because I used to love going camping alone or sometimes camping with my friends, doing other things, and that would upset him sometimes. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, a bit also.
Mm-hmm.
I got used to more being. It's like when it's a couple, you're doing more of a couple thing. So if you're not doing stuff together, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So he thought we were like growing apart if we're not doing everything
Yeah.
together, at least the majority of things together. But then, you know, he found his own freedom through there.
Yeah. Also, that what's it called? It's do my own things
Mm-hmm.
too,
Like if he
without
wants,
guilt.
yeah, if he wants to play the piano because he's learning to play the piano, he can do that without any guilt.
Yeah.
Well, with your past, it makes sense. Since
Yep.
in your previous relationship, you didn't have that freedom. That freedom
No,
was
exactly.
alien to you.
Yeah.
So when she tried to bring this freedom inside the relationship, you're like, what the f***? It doesn't belong here.
Yeah,
Basically. So, yeah, it makes
Basically.
sense.
Yes, it means something else. That freedom.
yeah, it means that we're drifting apart,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Whereas no, that's not the thing, because I mean, if I love camping and sleeping on dirt, that's not going to be his cup of tea.
Yeah. My
You don't
definition
have to
of
do it
camping is
together.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his camping is glamping. It's glamour camping. It's
Ah,
the
just,
actual term.
Just a 4-star hotel is fine.
Like a cottage or something.
A chalet somewhere with the view on the lake. Whereas, like, for
Yeah,
me,
I mean-
camping, I'm totally fine sleeping, you know, with just the tarp on top and
Yeah,
a
except
sleeping
when
bag.
there's spiders. Then
Yeah.
you're happy to enter back to that room.
But that's why I go camping on the off seasons.
Yeah.
So late October and late
there's less
bugs
yeah,
are gone.
no bugs. Yeah,
No bugs.
no
A bit
bugs.
colder, but the bugs are good.
Yeah, hypothermia. I'll take hypothermia any day, and I've actually gotten hypothermic a couple of times.
Still better than spiders.
But still better than spiders.
You
Absolutely.
take that win.
So I think we have a couple of minutes for some questions. Okay, so some of the questions we got on Instagram, some of them are a little more serious, others are a little, well, kind of cute. So this one here is from Cat and Raven Designs. Long debate between Raven and her spouse. Does doing the laundry include folding and putting it away?
Yeah.
No.
For us.
I mean, for us, yes, but we do it separately. By that, I mean that she usually is the one that put them in the washing machine, and I'm usually the one folding and putting them away. I don't wanna, but it's my job because she do so much elsewhere, so I don't wanna, but I still have to do it.
Oh, that's cute. For us, I think it's two separate activities.
Oh,
That
really?
don't need to be done on the same day either.
Or even the
No.
same month.
Definitely, I totally agree with you on that point.
We don't do them on the same month even. Like, we'll do the laundry, they'll dry, and then we'll put them on top of the dryer.
Yeah.
Then do other laundry.
And then do oth-
focus on
Yeah, and then just
eventually-
wear what we want.
I don't even put it on top of the dryer. Like
No,
at one point we
just
were
keep
so
adding more.
busy, I just keep adding more laundry into the
Oh,
dryer,
no.
and then everything's drying into each other. But it's been dried like 7 times. because
Oh,
I haven't
no.
Why
folded
is
it
there
yet.
so much stuff? Well, we haven't done it in like 3 weeks. Oh, that makes sense.
So there's your answer.
Yeah.
Next one. What language do you speak at home? From NG Kawaii Crafts.
Frenglish.
Frenglish.
Frenglish?
Yeah, French
we
and
switch
English.
a lot. We start in French, we finish in English, we switch words, we use.
Or sometimes
words,
I'll just speak English and he answers me back in French.
Yeah.
Interesting. For us, it's mostly English, sprinkled with a little spicy Japanese.
Yeah, that's
This
what I
is
was gonna
true,
say.
yeah.
Japan English.
Yeah, Japanglish.
Japanglish.
Yeah, we're really trying, but we're not trying at the same time. So that's Japanglish here and Frenglish
Frenglish.
over there. Ferris asks, how do you tolerate their weirdness? So these are specifically for Alex and Pat.
He says weird though.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Most of the inside jokes that you do on your channel are also kind of inside joke that we do together.
So you embrace it.
Yes.
How about
Yeah,
Pat?
I think I embrace it too.
You do. You keep telling me how I have personality. That's
Yeah.
one thing he tells me constantly.
You have personality. You're different. That's nice.
Oh, I'm trying.
Not hard enough.
Okay, so this one is also for both the guys. What made you fall in love?
I thought he was really sexy.
That was for the guys. You know what? I'm gonna answer it while they think. For me, what made me fall in love with Pat is he was extremely empathetic. Like he had empathy, and he was always there. Like he was with me at my legitimate worst.
Well, he met me in the hospital, so
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was empathy and understanding and always wanting to understand me. And instead of having like a freak out over something I would say, he would literally just sit me down like a child and ask me a question and try to get to the root of it.
Yeah. I
So-
want
But
to
sometimes
understand.
he literally
It's
sits me
okay that
down.
you react. I want to understand.
But you know, that's sometimes what it takes, especially for, again, me and Sika, the trauma that we went through when
Yeah.
we were younger. We were taught to block,
Our emotions.
never express it. Because you
Yeah.
express it, you're actually going to get into worse consequences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to sit us down, like how you do with
He
Sika,
literally sits me down, literally. Like if I'm standing up, he's like, "Okay, sit down."
It usually happen on the bed. So
Yes.
it's like, okay, look at me. Look at me.
look in my
Eye
eyes.
contact, and I'm like,
Give me the
eye contact, I'm
attention. For me, it was how deep the connection was and how quick it came to be. I had a lot of issues back then with my emotions. I used to hide them. I had a deep hole inside of me where I just shoved them all in there and just stay there. It took really weird fact. It took me 4 months to tell her that I love her. So it took me 4 months for the first "I love you."
That's still quick to some people's standards.
Maybe, but for me, it was
Yeah.
like we've been dating for 3 months at that point, and I still wasn't able. It's not that I didn't want to say it; it's that I felt that gap inside of me. I wasn't able to say it.
He also said it to me when I was half asleep.
Oh, no.
It was
in,
like in passing, and I was leaving, and I just left it there and left.
It's like,
Going to work.
I love you.
Yeah, I basically ran away after it, and
Oh.
that's how deep my scars were back then. And she was patient throughout all of it, and understanding, and the connection was still there, and we were still f***ed up, but together, basically.
you grew together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I don't remember how long it took us to say I love you.
About 4 or 5 months too.
Yeah, because
Of
that was
knowing each other or of dating?
knowing.
I want to make the distinction here because you can know someone and start to get interested in someone and then start dating, and once the dating start, the "I love you" part can come pretty fast.
Maybe 2 months actually, because it was more on.
Because we officially started dating in like
February.
a February.
Yeah, and it's in April.
We're
like in,
February too, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Funny.
26. Yeah.
Us is 17.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was more in April, after we started to date.
Yeah, it's
So about 2
when the
months.
grass was starting to get
Yeah.
like green. Okay.
Yeah, it was not like fully hot yet, but it was already like when spring was already like in spring basically.
Mm-hmm. So then the question is from Mystique Luna, what made you fall in love?
Me, it was how caring you were.
So for us, it was both the same thing.
Yeah,
Like the
because
caring
with
aspect.
but your caring was like even more I found, because even back then, it's like you didn't have, like, you were a poor student. You
I
didn't have
was.
anything. You didn't have anything, and your first concern was everybody around.
Yeah.
It's like I remember that too, and I was like, man, do something for yourself too. And it was like even for Christmas, you were buying like little trinkets for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, and you didn't even have that means to do that, but you were
Yeah.
buying like at least something for like 15, 20 people inside the dojo. Everything was for Sika too back then. So that's why at some moment when I got some
Gift
What?
cards.
Yeah, I
That's
got
true.
you
I
a
remember
gift card.
those.
for what's it called? I think it was Indigo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah. And right there, you were like, okay, I can get that to Sika. I'm like, no. You don't
Yeah, I was
understand.
gonna get you some books because you were really into like Twilight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, no. You don't understand. This is for you. Only.
Yeah. I was like,
You're like,
Only.
oh, what do I do with this?
I know.
Not me.
Yeah.
how do I do if like how do I gift myself? And yeah, you were like
That's why I was like,
really
this one
making
is
me
for
promise.
you. I
Yeah.
don't want. I want you to get some stuff for yourself.
Yeah,
So that's what like really
that's what did it for you.
like how caring, how you cared about everyone around.
We have great husbands. We do.
I'm trying.
We have good boys.
You do club baby.
So we took one last question. There was one here by Kyotero asking, feed Sika yet?
No,
Oh,
you
I'm
haven't.
trying. It's so hard all the time to feed her.
You don't feed me. I feed you. Stupid boy.
Okay,
Liar.
let's take. Okay, by Misty Nikolai. What are some of your favorite hobbies? So we're just gonna go around real quick.
Like together or just hobbies?
Let's say hobbies together and then hobbies individually. So we'll start here on this side. Go ahead, Pat.
No, go ahead first.
Okay, well, for us together, I think our favorite hobbies are watching shows together.
Yeah.
It used to be karate, and then afterwards it was CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then when my health just went south,
You guys did pottery too, no?
Yeah, we did
yeah,
that
we
was
did
super
pottery
fun.
right before the Pandalorian. we were doing pottery, and then the Pandalorian happened. You're looking at me funny. It's the other word for the everything going on.
We'll talk about this later, baby.
Okay.
Just you can whisper it in his ear if he wants to hear it.
Whatever.
Yeah, we did pottery, and then things ended up closing down.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to go back.
Yeah, it was super fun actually.
Yeah, it
I was the teacher's pet.
Yeah, he was the teacher's pet. He was the only guy there. And the teacher was like, wow, you're doing so good. And she was saying it right in front of me. I'm like,
And she's
I
the
was
one with
looking-
the art channel, you know?
he was good, actually. He had a knack for it. And then individually, for me, it would be heavy gaming. Like heavy gaming. If it weren't for my back, I would be doing way more gaming. I just love RPGs. For me, that's the thing. Pat, your hobby?
Well, also we like traveling too.
We do, but that's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, and that's lately a bit more complicated to do. Yeah, so for me, I would say it's mainly Magic the Gathering. I spend quite a bit of time, and I used to spend a lot of my weekends also playing tournaments.
Yeah, that's true. And now with everything being online, you're also still playing with your friends on tabletop. Yeah.
So we continue on the weekends with the friends, and yeah, not in person anymore, but at least still continues and still collecting.
Yeah, that's true. Go ahead, you two.
Together, I guess it's mostly watching TV. We watch a lot of Netflix, a lot of YouTube. Recently, more trails. We like doing trails.
For a while there, it was a lot and canceled, but...
Yeah.
Well, we also have to consider that about half the time of our relationship was during the pandemonium, so
Yeah.
it was hard to go outside and do other stuff. But we're just easy.
Going as long as we're
Easy
just
going
hanging
together.
together.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what we're doing.
How about
much.
individually?
He loves gaming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alone. I don't have
No
hobbies.
hobbies?
I used to work so much, so like now that I have free time, it's a little weird. But I love pole dancing. Apart from that, photography. But I don't have my camera anymore. Now I'm more into gaming as well. So I am playing a lot of Animal Crossing recently.
Yes, finally.
I think that's about it for now for me. Really.
I'm trying to make her test some games, see if there's some that she could be eventually interested in. I've made her try so far at least one or two games that are more strategy games. She's okay with it, but they are long-term game and she has attention issues. So
I think that's where Animal Crossing is great.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
You
don't
can
need to
just
stop
save,
anytime.
leave, and come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So if I ever want to have her start a game with me on the long run, it has to be something that is fast-paced and constantly changing or evolving.
Or something consumable, like a 5-10 minute
Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't
Maybe
take
20
commitment
minute,
of,
of playtime.
Because I'm more into, I'm a lot into strategy games for X that are called. So yeah, and later today, in fact, I'm about to make her test a third game, which is an RPG this time.
Oh,
And hopefully she'll like it.
you'll have to tell me later tonight.
Yes. It's
And-
actually on special right now. We'll show you later.
Okay, yeah, you'll have to show me. Otherwise, we're going to get into detail and talk about games forever.
Not the point.
And with that said, I'm Jackie.
I'm Sika.
Thank you for listening to Coffee and Conversation with our lovely husbands.
Patrick.
Try.
And
What?
he said Patrick, and you
Oh,
are.
I'm Alex.
There we go.
I'm sorry. I was trying.
They're trying.
I'm trying.
And we'll
Not
see
very
you.
hard.
Not very hard. Not hard
Not
enough.
Just a normal
Baby.
guy.
We'll see you all in the next video. Bye. And if you have any other questions that you'd like to ask our hubbies, feel free to leave them in the comment section below.